Today we're going to look at confidence, self-doubt, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into this book, Unshakable,
Unshakable.
Mastering Confidence and Conquering Self-Doubt.
Yeah. Great book.
Yeah, and we want to give you like some tools and insights so that you can,
Absolutely.
build your own unshakable confidence.
That's the goal, right? I
Yeah.
mean, who doesn't want to feel more confident?
Yes, exactly.
It's like such a fundamental part of it.
I feel like it's something we all struggle with from time to time.
All the time. Yeah.
I know I do, for sure.
We all have those moments where we're like,
I totally.
am I good enough?
Yeah.
Is this the right decision?
Yeah, that nagging voice.
Yeah.
And the book actually talks about like
Mhm.
where those feelings come from.
Yeah.
And it traces it back to like our childhood experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I thought was fascinating.
It's so interesting how those early experiences can really shape our beliefs about ourselves.
Yeah. And it's not just about like a few harsh words here and there.
Right.
It's about those consistent messages that we receive.
Yeah, those repeated patterns.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're constantly being told you're not good at something or you're not smart enough or, whatever it might be. Those
Or pretty enough, or you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those messages, they can really stick with us.
They become ingrained.
Yeah. And they form these deep-seated beliefs about our capabilities.
Totally. And then as we get older, we kind of pile on top of that.
Right.
Our past failures, rejection.
Oh, absolutely.
All that stuff.
Yeah, it's like a snowball effect.
Totally. And then you add in social media.
Oh, don't even get me started on social media.
Right. With everyone's highlight reels.
Everyone's perfect curated lives.
It looks like.
It makes it even harder to feel confident.
So the book talks about this idea of a confidence gap.
The confidence gap, yeah.
Which is kind of that space between where we are and where we want to be confidence-wise.
Yeah, like the ideal version of ourselves.
Totally. Like the confident person we aspire to be.
Exactly.
So I guess the question is, how do we bridge that gap?
Right. Well, that's what we're here to explore.
Okay, so tell me.
The book talks about things like setting achievable goals.
Okay.
And challenging those negative thoughts and beliefs.
Yeah.
But I think before we even get to that,
Okay.
we need to figure out where that gap exists for each of us.
Okay, so like before we can set goals to bridge the gap, we need to understand what the gap is in the first place.
Yeah, like what are the specific areas where you feel that lack of confidence?
So is that like a self-assessment thing?
Yeah, kind of like taking inventory of your confidence levels in different areas of your life.
I like that, a confidence inventory.
Yeah.
So like think about your career, your relationships,
Mm.
any specific skills you want to develop.
Yeah.
Like where do you feel most confident?
Right.
And where do you feel those like doubts creep in?
Exactly. And once you've identified those areas where your confidence is lacking,
Okay.
then you can start to delve deeper into why that might be.
Okay, so once we kind of figure out where those gaps are,
Right.
then what?
Well, then the book talks about things like fear of judgment, perfectionism as major culprits that can widen that confidence gap.
It's so true.
It's like we're constantly worried about what others are going to think,
Right.
which can prevent us from taking risks or even just expressing ourselves authentically.
Totally. It's like we're holding ourselves back because we're so afraid of what other people might think.
Exactly. And perfectionism really just fuels that fear.
Oh, totally.
We're striving for this impossible standard,
Right.
which sets us up for disappointment and just reinforces that feeling of not being good enough.
Totally. And then we add in, past failures and rejections.
Oh, yeah.
And it just creates like this
cycle.
Yeah, this cycle of
Yeah.
like, I messed up before, so I'm going to mess up again.
It's exactly. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, totally.
And the book actually delves into the science behind this.
Okay, tell me more.
So there's this part of our brain called the amygdala,
Okay.
which is like our fear center.
Okay.
And it gets triggered when we face challenges or step outside our comfort zones.
It's like our brains are trying to protect us from
Exactly. It's a survival mechanism.
danger.
But sometimes that danger is just our own anxiety.
Totally, our own fears.
Yeah, not actual threats.
Yeah, but this is where it gets really interesting because the book also talks about neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change
To rewire itself.
and rewire itself.
Yeah, so we're not actually stuck with a brain that's wired for self-doubt.
Okay.
We can actually train our brains to be more confident.
That is fascinating.
It's like we have the power to reshape those neural pathways.
So how do we do that?
Well, the book talks about breaking free from limiting beliefs,
Oh.
which are those negative self-imposed barriers.
Like what?
Oh, things like, I'm not creative, I'm bad at public speaking.
Got it.
Whatever it is that's holding you back.
Those are like the stories we tell ourselves that
Exactly.
become those beliefs.
Yeah, and the book provides this three-step process for actually dismantling those beliefs
Oh, I like this.
and replacing them with more empowering ones.
Okay, so tell me these 3 steps.
Okay, so the first step is to identify those beliefs.
Okay.
Sounds simple, but it can actually be quite difficult
Okay.
to pinpoint the specific thoughts that are holding us back.
Right.
So the book suggests writing them down,
Okay.
getting them out of your head and onto paper.
Tangible.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then once you've identified those beliefs, the next step is to challenge their validity.
Okay, so question whether those beliefs are actually true.
Ask yourself, is this really true?
What evidence do I have?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because oftentimes, those beliefs are based on assumptions and fears, not actual facts.
Totally.
And then once you've challenged those beliefs and exposed their shaky foundations, you can move on to the third step,
Okay.
which is replacing them with more empowering beliefs.
So it's like we're consciously choosing to replace those negative, limiting thoughts with positive, empowering ones.
Exactly. And the book gives some great examples of how to do this.
Oh, tell me.
Like instead of saying, I'm not good at math,
Yeah.
you could say, I'm capable of learning and improving, and I'm willing to put in the effort.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about shifting your self-talk from a place of limitation to a place of possibility.
Totally. And speaking of mindset shifts, the book talks about moving from a fearful mindset to a fearless one,
Yes,
which sounds amazing.
it is empowering, right?
Yeah.
So the book differentiates between a fixed mindset,
Okay.
where we believe our abilities are set in stone,
Okay.
and a growth mindset, where we embrace challenges as opportunities for learning and development.
So like with a fixed mindset, we're basically trapped by self-doubt.
Because we believe we can't change or improve.
Right. Whereas with a growth mindset, we see those challenges as a chance to expand our skills and knowledge.
Right. Exactly. And the book suggests some practical tips for cultivating that growth mindset.
Oh, tell me.
One of them is to reframe those challenging tasks as opportunities for growth instead of avoiding them altogether.
So instead of thinking this is going to be so hard, we can think I'm going to learn so much from this experience.
Yeah, it's about changing the script in your head.
I love that.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of seeing criticism as a tool for improvement.
That can be tough.
It can be, but if you can shift your perspective and see it as feedback that can help you grow, it's a game changer.
Totally.
And finally, the book encourages us to celebrate effort and progress, not just results.
That's a good word.
It's easy to get caught up in the end goal,
Yeah.
but it's important to acknowledge the steps we're taking along the way.
Totally. Those little wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Celebrating those small wins can be really motivating and confidence boosting.
For sure. And, speaking of mindset and self-talk, the book dives into the power of self-talk.
Yeah, our internal dialogue can have such a huge impact on our confidence levels.
It's amazing.
It is.
Like what we tell ourselves can really shape our reality.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, right.
If you're constantly telling yourself you're going to fail,
Probably going to fail.
you're probably going to fail. Exactly.
Right.
But on the flip side, if you're feeding your mind with positive affirmations,
Okay.
you're more likely to succeed
Yeah.
because you're programming your mind for success.
So it's really about like shifting that language from I can't to I am capable of learning.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about believing in yourself.
So it's really about making that conscious effort to choose those positive thoughts over the negative ones.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, what are some of the specific things that the book recommends in terms of like shifting from negative self-talk to positive self-talk?
Well, one of the most effective tools is affirmations.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
Affirmations are basically positive statements that you repeat to yourself regularly.
Okay.
And they can be really powerful for reprogramming your subconscious mind.
So instead of saying, I'm going to mess this up, we can say, I am capable and prepared.
Exactly.
And I will do my best.
Yeah, it's about replacing those negative thoughts with positive ones.
That's so powerful.
It is. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes.
Yeah, it's like building a new habit.
Exactly.
And speaking of building a new habit, what about building a positive self-image?
Oh, that's another key concept in the book.
Yeah, I'm curious, like what are some of the practical things that we can do to cultivate that positive mental picture of ourselves?
Well, first and foremost, it starts with changing that negative self-talk to positive self-talk.
So becoming aware of those negative thoughts and consciously replacing them with more positive ones.
And it's not just about the words.
Okay.
It's also about celebrating your strengths
Okay.
and accomplishments.
So like acknowledging those things that we do well.
Yeah, those qualities and experiences that make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah. I love that.
It's like creating a highlight reel of your life,
Yeah.
focusing on the best of who you are and what you've achieved.
And I think that can be really hard to do,
It can be.
especially when you're, in that negative self-talk spiral.
Right.
It's hard to see the good.
It is, but that's why it's so important to make a conscious effort to do it,
Yeah.
to remind yourself of your strengths.
And this kind of goes back to that gratitude piece that we were talking about.
Absolutely.
Like taking the time to acknowledge the things that we're grateful for.
Yeah, gratitude can be a powerful antidote to negative self-talk
Totally.
because it shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have.
Totally.
And when you're feeling grateful, it's harder to feel insecure or doubtful.
Yeah.
And the book also talks about the importance of visualization.
Visualization.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
So visualization is basically using your imagination to create a vivid mental picture of yourself, achieving your goals, experiencing success, and embodying those qualities that you aspire to cultivate.
Like a mental movie
Exactly.
with your desired future.
Yeah, and by repeatedly visualizing those positive outcomes, you're essentially training your mind to believe that they're attainable.
I love that.
It's like programming your subconscious mind for success.
And I think it's important to not just see it, but also like feel it,
Absolutely.
like engage all your senses.
Yes. The more senses you can engage, the more real it will feel.
Yeah.
And the more powerful the visualization will be.
And the book also talks about surrounding ourselves with positive influences.
Yes, the people we surround ourselves with can have a huge impact on our self-perception,
Totally.
our overall well-being.
It's like creating a positive ecosystem for your confidence to thrive.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about overcoming the fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think this is something that holds a lot of people back
Oh, for sure.
from pursuing their goals
Absolutely.
and taking risks.
It's a universal fear.
But what I find really interesting about this book is that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't advocate for avoiding failure.
Right.
It actually encourages us to embrace it.
Yeah, it reframes failure as an essential element of growth.
So it's not about trying to avoid failure at all costs,
Right.
but it's about seeing it as a learning opportunity.
Exactly. It's feedback. It's data
Data.
that you can use to improve.
I love that.
Yeah. And the book also highlights the importance of embracing mistakes as part of this process.
It's giving ourselves permission to be human,
Yeah.
to make those mistakes, knowing that they're not a reflection of our worth, but rather a necessary part of the journey.
Exactly.
And the book also talks about visualizing success before taking action.
Oh, yeah. Visualization can be really helpful in reducing anxiety,
Okay.
especially if you're feeling fearful about something.
So it's like creating that mental blueprint for success,
Yeah.
which can help us feel more prepared and confident.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's move on to a topic that I know a lot of people struggle with, myself included.
What's that?
Embracing imperfection and letting go of perfectionism.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, it's so hard,
Especially in today's world, with social media and
all the things.
everything. Yeah.
But the book explains how perfectionism can actually be paralyzing.
Oh, absolutely. It can prevent you from taking action.
Because we're so afraid of making mistakes or falling short, that
Gosh.
impossible standard.
It's like this endless cycle of procrastination and self-doubt.
Totally, because we're striving for something that doesn't even exist.
Right.
So the book offers this antidote to that perfectionistic trap,
Mm-hmm.
and it's embracing the concept of good enough,
Good enough.
which sounds so simple, but it's so hard to actually do.
It is. It's a real mindset shift.
Totally.
But it's so freeing when you can actually let go of that need for perfection.
So it's about shifting our focus from flawlessness to progress.
Exactly.
Recognizing that we don't have to be perfect to be successful or worthy. So instead of aiming for 100% perfection, which is unattainable,
Right.
we can aim for continuous improvement.
Progress over perfection.
I love that.
Yeah. And the book also encourages us to celebrate those small wins.
Yeah.
To acknowledge our efforts and progress, even if the outcome isn't perfect.
Because every step forward is a victory in itself.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's talk about setting goals. Because the book talks about the importance of setting bold goals and then actually taking action
Right.
to achieve them.
It's one thing to dream big,
Yeah,
but it's another thing entirely to actually do something about it.
to make it happen.
Yeah.
So the book suggests that the act of setting goals can actually be a confidence booster in itself,
Oh, absolutely.
which I thought was interesting.
It gives you a sense of purpose and direction,
Yeah.
which can be really empowering.
And it creates that roadmap for our lives,
Uh,
that path to follow.
exactly.
So tell me some tips for setting effective goals.
Well, the book says it's important to be specific and clear about what success looks like.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I want to be more successful,
Mm.
you need to define what success actually means to you.
Like, what does it look like? How will I know when I've achieved it?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's also important to set measurable objectives
Okay.
so you can track your progress
Right?
and see how far you've come.
Okay.
And you want to make those goals challenging but achievable.
So, like, finding that sweet spot
Mm-hmm.
between ambition and realism.
Exactly.
Okay. And what about taking action?
Right. So once you've set your goals, you need a plan.
Okay.
The book emphasizes the importance of creating an action plan.
So, like, breaking it down into smaller steps.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because that can make the whole process feel less overwhelming and more manageable.
Like bite-sized pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like having a step-by-step guide for success.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about overcoming social anxiety, because I think this is something that can really impact our confidence
Oh, absolutely.
in a lot of different areas of our lives.
It can be debilitating.
Yeah.
It can prevent you from connecting with others, from expressing yourself fully.
So, like, what does the book suggest in terms of overcoming social anxiety?
Well, one of the key insights is that social anxiety often stems from a lack of self-worth
Okay.
or past negative experiences in social settings.
So it's like those past experiences have created these negative associations
Mhm.
that make us hesitant to put ourselves out there again.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes it's hard to distinguish between, like, being introverted
Yeah.
and having social anxiety.
Right.
Because there is a difference.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
And the book offers some practical strategies for addressing those anxieties.
Like what?
Well, one of them is gradual exposure to social situations.
Okay.
It's about starting small book, taking baby steps outside your comfort zone.
So instead of jumping into a big party, maybe start with a one-on-one coffee date.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of challenging those negative thoughts about judgment from others.
It's so easy to get caught up in our heads
It is
and worry about what other people are thinking.
right, but the reality is that most people are more concerned with their own anxieties.
Than judging us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if someone does judge you,
Yeah.
it's ultimately their opinion, and it doesn't have to define your worth.
That's a powerful realization.
It is.
And the book also talks about practicing self-compassion
Mm-hmm.
after social interactions, especially if we're feeling anxious or self-critical.
It's about treating yourself with kindness and understanding,
Yeah,
acknowledging that everyone makes mistakes,
totally.
and those mistakes don't define your worth or your social competence.
It's like being your own cheerleader,
exactly.
offering yourself support and encouragement
Mhm.
instead of judgment and criticism.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about nonverbal communication,
Oh, yes.
because the book explains how our body language,
Mm-hmm.
facial expressions, even posture can impact our confidence levels.
It's incredible how much our nonverbals communicate.
So even if we're feeling insecure on the inside, projecting confident body language can actually make us feel more self-assured.
It can, yeah.
It's like we're tricking our mind.
Yeah, it's like a feedback loop.
Totally.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are some of the specific nonverbal cues that project confidence?
Well, first and foremost, good posture.
Okay.
Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up.
Like you own the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And making eye contact is crucial.
Okay.
It shows that you're engaged and confident.
It's about making those connections,
Mhm.
showing that we're present and attentive
Yeah.
and smiling.
Oh, yes. A genuine smile can instantly make you appear more approachable and confident.
It's like we're saying, I'm happy to be here.
Mhm.
I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm
Right.
confident in myself.
Exactly.
And the book also talks about power poses.
yes.
Those expansive stances that can actually boost our testosterone levels.
And decrease cortisol, the stress hormone.
It's amazing how our physicality can actually influence
Mhm.
our mental state.
It really is.
Okay, so let's move on to developing emotional intelligence, or EQ.
Mhm.
What role does EQ play in all of this?
EQ is crucial for confidence building.
Okay.
It's the ability to understand and manage your emotions effectively.
And why is this so important for confidence?
Well, when you're able to recognize and regulate your emotions, you're less likely to be hijacked by self-doubt
Okay.
or negative thoughts.
So it's like we're building this inner resilience, this
Mhm.
ability to stay calm and focused even when things get tough.
Exactly. And the book breaks down EQ into 5 key components.
Okay, what are they?
Self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, social skills, and motivation.
And how do those components contribute to building confidence?
Well, self-awareness helps you understand your triggers and patterns,
Okay.
and self-regulation allows you to manage those emotions effectively.
So instead of being controlled by our emotions, we're in control.
Exactly.
Okay.
And empathy allows you to connect with others on an emotional level.
And those connections can be really supportive and confidence boosting. Okay, so let's talk about self-care.
Oh, self-care is essential
Yeah.
for maintaining balance, energy, and well-being.
So what are some of the things that we can do to practice self-care?
Well, the book highlights different forms of self-care,
Okay.
including physical, mental, and emotional.
Okay.
So physical self-care includes things like exercise, nutrition, and sleep.
It's about taking care of our physical bodies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And mental self-care involves engaging in activities that stimulate your mind.
Like reading or learning new things. Yeah.
And emotional self-care is about nurturing your emotional health.
So things like gratitude journaling, spending time in nature,
Exactly.
connecting with loved ones, all of those things that nourish our souls.
Yeah.
Okay, so the book also talks about cultivating an unshakable mindset.
Yes.
So what exactly does that mean?
Well, it's about developing that inner strength and resilience that allows you to remain calm and focused.
Even in the face of adversity. So it's about weathering those storms of life without getting swept away by doubt or fear or negativity.
Exactly. It's about developing that inner fortitude.
And how do we do that?
Well, the book offers some practical tips.
Okay.
One of them is to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth.
So instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, we can reframe them as stepping stones.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's also crucial to focus on the present moment.
So not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
Right.
Yeah.
And the book emphasizes the importance of building resilience through coping strategies like positive self-talk, mindfulness, and seeking support from others.
So it's about developing that toolbox of strategies that can help us navigate those tough times.
Exactly.
And the book also encourages us to cultivate optimism and a hopeful outlook on life.
Yeah, because when you believe in a positive future, you're more likely to take risks and persevere through challenges and ultimately achieve your goals.
It's about believing in yourself and your ability to create the life you want.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's revisit the power of visualization, because I think this is such a powerful tool.
It is.
So tell me more about how we can use visualization to build confidence.
Well, the book explains how visualization can help program our minds for success
Okay.
by creating vivid mental pictures of ourselves, achieving our goals, and embodying those qualities that we aspire to cultivate.
So it's like creating a mental blueprint for success.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the more you visualize those positive outcomes, the more real they become in your mind.
So it's about training our brains to see those outcomes as possible.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the book gives some great tips for making visualization more effective.
Like what?
Well, one tip is to engage all your senses,
Okay.
not just visually, but also through sound, touch, smell, even taste.
So making it as vivid and multisensory as possible. Yeah.
That helps to strengthen those neural connections.
So it's not just seeing ourselves succeeding, but also feeling the emotions, hearing the sounds, experiencing it fully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of practicing visualization regularly.
So like any skill, the more we practice, the better we get.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's talk about the importance of consistency. Because I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with.
Oh, absolutely.
We get excited about a new technique or strategy,
Right.
but then we don't stick with it long enough to see results.
Yeah, consistency is key.
So how do we build that consistency?
Well, the book suggests setting daily habits that align with your goals.
Okay.
So whether it's practicing a new skill or exercising or meditating,
Right.
make it a regular part of your routine.
Even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of tracking your progress.
Okay.
Seeing how far you've come can be really motivating.
It's like a visual reminder of our growth.
Exactly.
Okay, and the book also reminds us to be patient.
Because confidence building takes time
It does.
and effort and consistency.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the importance of building a support system. Because I think having those people in our corner
Yes.
can make all the difference.
It can be a game changer.
So what are some tips for building a strong support system?
Well, the book emphasizes the importance of surrounding yourself with positive people.
Okay.
People who lift you up, encourage you, and celebrate your victories with you.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the book also suggests seeking out mentors.
People who have achieved what we want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. People who can offer guidance and support.
And the book also encourages us to join communities
Mm-hmm.
that align with our interests and goals.
Yes. Finding your tribe.
Yeah.
It's those like-minded people who share your passions
Yeah.
and aspirations.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next topic might seem a little counterintuitive.
But the book encourages us to learn from criticism and rejection, which I think can be really challenging
It can be.
because it's natural to want to avoid those experiences.
Right.
They don't feel good.
They don't.
But the book explains.
But the book explains how those experiences can actually be valuable opportunities for growth and learning.
So it's not about trying to avoid criticism or rejection altogether,
Right.
but it's about shifting our perspective and seeing them as chances to learn and improve.
Exactly. And the book offers some great tips for handling criticism constructively.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, first, it's important to separate your identity from the feedback.
Okay, so it's not about who we are as people,
Right.
but about our actions or our work.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about detaching your ego from the feedback
Okay.
and focusing on the information that can help you improve.
So looking for the lesson.
What can you learn from this experience?
Okay,
How could you do better next time?
I like that.
Yeah, it's about transforming criticism from something that feels threatening to something that's constructive.
Totally.
And the book also encourages us to respond to criticism with grace and gratitude.
Even if it's not delivered in the most constructive way.
Right, even if it's harsh or unfair.
Yeah.
It's about taking the high road,
Yeah.
maintaining your composure,
Okay.
and recognizing that everyone's entitled to their opinion.
And when it comes to rejection, the book suggests reframing it as redirection.
Yes.
So it's not a closed door,
Right,
but maybe it's an open door to a different opportunity.
exactly. It's about trusting that there's a reason for everything,
Okay.
even if you don't understand it in the moment.
So it's not a personal failure.
Right.
It's just a redirection.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of building resilience,
Okay.
because rejection is a part of life,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to define you or dictate your future.
So it's about developing that inner strength that allows us to bounce back from those setbacks
Exactly.
and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so the book also talks about the power of gratitude and how gratitude can actually play a role in building confidence.
It might seem counterintuitive, but it makes sense when you think about it.
Okay, so tell me more about this gratitude-confidence connection.
Well, gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have.
Okay.
It's about appreciating the good things in our lives, no matter how big or small they are.
So instead of dwelling on our shortcomings or comparing ourselves to others,
Right?
we're focusing on those things that make us feel grateful.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can be really empowering.
Okay.
When you're feeling grateful, you're more likely to feel content, optimistic, and confident.
It's like gratitude creates this positive energy that radiates outward and affects every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely.
So what are some practical ways to practice gratitude?
Well, one simple but powerful technique is keeping a gratitude journal.
Okay, so like every day write down a few things that you're grateful for.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything major.
Just those little things.
Yeah, the little things that make you happy.
And the book also suggests expressing gratitude to others.
Yes. Whether it's a simple thank you or a heartfelt letter,
Mm-hmm.
expressing appreciation can strengthen relationships
Totally.
and boost your own well-being.
So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
And the book also encourages us to reflect on our own strengths and achievements.
Yes. Take stock of all the good things you've accomplished
Okay.
and recognize how far you've come.
So it's like acknowledging our own growth and development, celebrating those victories,
Exactly.
and reminding ourselves of our capabilities.
Yeah, and I think gratitude is a powerful antidote to self-doubt.
Totally.
When you're focused on all the good things in your life, it's harder to get bogged down in those negative thoughts and limiting beliefs.
Yeah, it's like shifting our focus from scarcity to abundance. And, speaking of shifting our mindset, the book also talks about cultivating an unshakable mindset.
Yes.
So what exactly does that mean?
It's about developing that inner strength and resilience
Okay.
that allows you to remain calm and focused, even in the face of adversity.
So it's about weathering those storms of life without getting swept away by doubt or fear.
Exactly. It's about developing that inner fortitude.
Okay, so how do we cultivate this unshakable mindset?
Well, the book offers some practical tips.
Okay.
One of them is